what you get. Let's get to humping. You know that's what you get.
We are back, and so again, that was little MC Crumb Snatcher. Let's get to humping. Explicit House of Glitch Edit. So he's one of our local celebrity bees.
Yeah, that was great.
And he was awesome. We're joined here. Why don't you introduce our guest here, Maria?
Great. Well, we are here with Megan Murray.
Welcome, Megan.
Megan, and
Under the Golden Gate.
I actually like to be elevated above my guests. It makes me feel more powerful.
She wants you to look at her boobies.
No. It just worked out that way.
If there's not a mirror, she wants you to look at her boobies.
Yeah,
It's
welcome.
Future
Anyway,
guests.
I want to get back to being serious. I love boobs. Sorry.
I have to say, after the last segment, you are the Barbara Walters of drag. I've decided this.
Yeah, Barbara Walters.
Yeah. You need to. We got to work that into the next few shows, right? You know,
let's go on the road.
If you were a twee, what kind of twee would you be?
I would be a tree that would bear lots of fruit.
Fruity tree.
You know, I saw these freaky trees in Hawaii. You ever been to Hawaii?
I've not yet. No.
There are trees that there's a main trunk and then these other trunks go down and dangle, and hit the ground. It's like
banyan tree.
Is that what it is?
That's what it's called.
A banyan tree.
Yeah. Is that where the Buddha sat under and prayed, or that was a different kind of tree?
Hawaii?
Yeah. In Hawaii.
Hawaiian Buddha.
Well,
Hawaiian Buddha did that.
Yeah, the Hawaiian Buddha did that. Sorry.
Well, anyway, so I'm trying to get serious again.
Well,
because
we're introduction of our guest.
about a very serious topic.
Exactly.
Banyan trees.
Drink some more wine.
Anyway, so Megan.
No, it's going to do something.
Megan is an expert in one of the most important topics of the time, which is social networking.
Social networking. I'm always looking for extra jobs and stuff, and I mean that's one of the things I've seen explode is people looking for people to advise them on how to tweet to these kids and everything, because it was something that I think for so long all the people are going, oh, that's silly, that's something the kids do, but now they're realizing the full. I mean, and now you see all those TV shows jumping on with the hashtags and the this and the that. It was just all of a sudden out of nowhere, and I'm still learning myself.
I think we all.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really something that's happening right now. It's so of the moment.
Amanda Bynes really broke the glass ceiling with that.
Well, if you go out to the show tonight and see that.
Who's Amanda Bynes?
Amanda Bynes is a pop culture. I forgot what show she's from. Do you remember?
No, she's from show. She's a prolific tweeter, though. And
that's the way it is.
And she's kind of an idiot.
She's Lindsay Lohan without the talent.
Yeah.
Here's rule number 1 about social media. It's the first thing that you have to know. It's just a magnifying glass. That's all it is. All it does, it's a magnifying glass and a megaphone. So anything that you are is bigger and more visible to everybody else out in the world.
Totally.
Yeah, but then so the one thing I was wondering is how do you rise above the noise? One thing you told me that was literally one of these. Every once in a while you hear one of these profound statements "Oh my God, the world really is changing. All this big drama happens." It was the world has been hierarchical for 200,000 years.
Yep.
And now it's becoming networked for the first time, like a neuron. It's like some neurons are storing the others' connections and all this thing. So if you're one of these neurons that magnifies yourself out, how do you in an appropriate way, let's just say, make sure that you're louder than everybody else? Not because you want to be louder, hopefully because maybe you have more experience or whatever.
So there's this great kind of cliche thing that pops around on Twitter all the time as profound quote, hashtag profound quote, right? And it starts off with be interested and then be interesting.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're talking about a social network, we're a social network. Everybody in this room is a social network. We know each other, we're friends, we don't need tools to facilitate it. All tools do is scale this stuff up and make it visible to other people. It makes your voice bigger, it makes you more present.
And the one who's more efficient.
Exactly.
So if you want to change the world for good reasons, you have to learn how to navigate the network.
Think about when you're talking about changing the world. Remember all of the news and everything that exploded about the Arab Spring. Right.
Tell us about that.
So all of the business, it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, where the Middle East started exploding. First, it was
Egypt and the Mohammed. What's his name?
And but what people were able to do is that guy for
I got the right first syllable.
Stuff mean bastard people yelling
exactly. But see, with that kind of quick code language, we all know
that guy. But they were able to organize very quickly. They were able to pull themselves together as a collective instead of it being forced through an official media channel that got to censor everything and clean up everything and make sure that it was okay. You had young kids who were able to go out, and people of my age. Actually, you'll find that it's not the millennials that are the big deal who are taking this and running with it. It's actually the Gen Xers at this point, right?
Oh, that would be
Dream On Girl.
60s and 70s?
So we've got, and there's a combination of things that are occurring, right? So we've got social media out in the world. Media replaced, if you think about it, with a social system, right?
Yeah.
We're all watching our videos on YouTube,
Which
we're
is
talking
good
to each
and
other
bad,
on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And we're commenting and liking and sharing.
Well, there's pros and cons to everything, right? It's
Oh, yeah.
never all or nothing. It's always everything. You've got to take it all into consideration. So you can be a jackass on Facebook, or you can be profoundly awesome and organize a bunch of people together to change the country on Facebook.
Yeah, it's like Churchill saying, one of my favorite ones, democracy is a horrible form of government, except every other one that we tried and totally failed at.
Exactly.
It's that kind of thing. All right, be grateful for the bitch you got, or whatever.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
Or whatever
if
it
you
is.
think about it, when you look at the different types of tools that are available and how people are easily able to mobilize and do what they need to do. We have Uber, we have Lyft. Lyft is one of the services that's available in San Francisco now, where if I want to make $30 an hour, I can rent out my car. I can go drive people around and put an ugly pink mustache on the front of my car and make $30 an hour.
What are those button mustaches? Is that a gay thing? Or what is that?
It's not a gay thing. It's another car service.
It's
We're
another
like seeing
car
these
service.
pink mustaches in San Francisco. We're like, what is it?
I can
Do you guys
stand
know
on a
what the pink-
corner and tell me the pink
Yeah.
mustache car should show up.
I've only
Yep.
been in San Francisco a couple months. And I already know what left is.
Thank
Come
you very
on.
much.
I thought those pink things were something from Burning Man.
No.
I thought they
it's
were
a
automobiles
car
or something.
service. It's a car service like Homobile. It's just nonprofit. I mean, it's not a nonprofit. It's for profit.
It's for profit.
But that's how people. Yeah, you can rent your car out. and drive
Non-profit, it's the
people
same
around.
thing. They just pay to jack up their salaries.
It's a group of people using social tools in a way that facilitates them making money.
Commerce.
The people who are doing the driving making money. People who need to get somewhere can get
Everybody's an
somewhere.
entrepreneur.
Okay,
Right,
I have
exactly.
to clarify, being in San Francisco only since January, I know what left is.
Yes.
It's by donation. They do have a recommended donation, but it is a donation. It is non-profit, and you can help them just like any regular.
Can you send their financials over later and we're going to analyze it?
We'll
There you
analyze
go.
it. We'll see if we want to go for second round for these guys. I don't know.
Oh, I've never used them. I just know what they are.
I just know that those mustaches look really effing dirty after about a week.
They certainly
and
do.
it's kind of nasty.
And, that
Yeah.
probably,
I thought it was
and that's
cool,
probably
yeah.
what you feel on the
Little
inside
operational
after having
problem.
worked there for a week.
Yeah.
Wait,
But
so-
I myself recommend Homobiles. So.
Homobiles.
That's
Yes,
all good.
that's the way to
So,
go.
so you were saying before that really there are a lot of profound changes going on. And now
There are.
you get paid, you earn a living. You actually
I do.
You actually do social networking. You talk. You speak at social networking.
I do.
And you were telling me that almost like a fractal. Like the world is changing. Markets are changing.
Yeah.
You're changing. There's different levels. Like
Yeah, very much so.
you
I
know,
mean,
and how does this? You know,
so you think about it, right? If you look at the way when you mentioned before about the notion of kind of the world that we have right now. Certainly, we have a capitalistic structure. It's very top down. It's kind of the pyramid scheme of the world as things are coming together right now.
I love it.
Pyramids.
I love all the intrigue.
But that's been the norm. I mean, we about 150 years ago there was this fellow named Taylor who came up with this notion of how organizations need to work. It's kind of the management structure that we deal with right now. It's very hierarchical, and it bottlenecks in all these different places that make things not work. Think about the government.
It's kind of like being shackled,
It's yeah,
but in a bad way.
in a bad way. It's
okay.
no
All right, I'm done. Can we try something else?
I want to be slapped better.
Yeah.
Not shackled in a good way.
Not
like
shackled in a
Amazon
Yeah.
and Slap it.
It's like
That
the
was
great.
in a good way.
That was a good way. The great thing about being shackled is there's always an escape route.
Yes. Yeah.
I can always
Yeah.
press the panic button.
The
What,
thing,
you
the thing
your
about
hand off?
capitalism is that there
What's
is no
that?
safe
Your
word.
hand off? That's the escape route.
Well, yours is a safe word.
Oh.
A word you would never say, like yes.
Safe words are for pussies.
The word never use yes or no for a safe word. It has to be a word like Nairobi.
Yeah.
A word you'd never say when you were getting fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. We're all getting fucked one way or another.
Yeah,
It's something.
exactly.
It's best when the safe word cannot be possibly pronounced. Then they can never use it.
This is all very serious stuff, and Megan's going to take us back to
my safe
why
word
this
is going to be
important.
the artist formerly known as Prince.
In this stupor, I'm trying to figure out where do we branch off here. Oh yes,
So,
we were talking about.
I was
yes.
talking about Taylor. So this notion of going to this kind of Tayloristic society where everything has boss at the top who's very elitist, and then the manager in the middle, and there's this
Male boss.
glut. Who are they anyway? And this glut of managers in the middle that we're supporting with all of the peons at the bottom, kind of thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to hiring smart people and getting them excited and having them contribute good things to the goal, having them on board with what the goal is,
Totally.
even understanding what that is. I mean,
see, so it's amazing. So what we were talking about was that really this impacts corporations. Like we were talking about how if you're an artist and you want to do a new career, you can go write code.
Sure.
You know, go to Code Academy, whatever it is, or you can like take these social networking skills. Code
Still,
Academy.
it's funny. I like the name of it.
Or
It's
you
a good
take-
movie.
I'm talking about something serious.
Right.
I'm talking about careers.
I'm talking about a movie.
What movies? Anyway, so all right, let's talk about the serious stuff and then we'll party afterwards.
Yeah.
Because we got to have a social component to what we're doing.
yeah, totally.
Right. So the idea is that you can write code, or you can actually hope that big corporations will start hiring people.
Right.
You know, to do social networking. Hope they do it soon
Well,
before
and
we
it's
all.
happening.
They are. It's
so it's
happening right now.
happening right now. So
Yeah.
my focus in social media, social networking, is specifically inside of organizations.
Yeah.
I started off my work in collaboration and emerging technology in the mid '90s, and started doing research on all of these different quote unquote collaboration tools, which
Right.
basically meant I share my screen with you, I share a document with you. That's collaboration. We're collaborating right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're talking right now. This is
Exchanging
Recorded.
ideas.
It's what social networks do is they collaborate with one another.
Well, and it's going right off on the internet.
Dun, 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 right?
That's
So
exciting.
It's
So how does it? Yeah. So how,
So the point is that understanding these tools, the insertion of these tools has started to reveal those kinds of behaviors in people, right?
Yeah.
And it gets back to that magnifying glass piece that we don't function very well when we're in a very rigid hierarchical
No, we
situation. So as we more naturally, we naturally and sometimes with great resistance move towards networks, we get to be more healthy, more productive. We get to hit that bottom line more often, and we're trying to find more and more ways to introduce this kind of way of working in this network environment.
So let's say you buy into that this is big, you know?
Sure.
So the next step is, you know, let's say that we're doing an internet show about San Francisco and we want to spread the word about all the kinky stuff we're doing. So give me some practical tools.
Practical tools.
Like we just shot a kink video and we want it to be not just about kink, we want it to be about art, about
Right.
kink,
Well,
about
let
the
me give
kinky
you
world
this
we live in,
example, too.
politics, you know, whatever.
Let me give you another example as well, and I'll hit the kink one too. But
Yeah.
I was just listening to a story about some drag queens trying to get some drag queens and some regular old touristy type folks to come out to their show.
Right.
Right? And we talked about printing off paper and standing in front of a whole lot of people and giving them out, which is can be super effective. It's better when they're actually in drag. We know that. But it can be even more effective when we're tweeting constantly about the fact that we're there, that we're posting pictures of that very instance on Instagram.
We
where
post
put them
them
on
too.
Facebook.
I mean, to our friends?
We post them out to an audience that we are able to build, and I'll show you that part too.
So how do we build it? Here's the problem that we face is that a lot of people in this community, and this is a fabulous community.
Fabulous.
You know, we're tweeting amongst ourselves, but it's very hard to get out to like the tourists and the people in China and the Midwest people, who, by the way, are the kinkiest of all.
Because the way Facebook, or if you're going to go through
Change
Facebook
your
or
last
the
name to
medias,
Kardashian.
they kind of have it designed
You're right.
You should
where
all
you're
How do we-
reaching
what is
only
this?
the people who
Well, but you can, so
who are in that little.
Kardashians.
You have to think of ways to like make
Right.
it to be shared
So you
and
can
commented.
take
and,
you can take advantage of that. The other
Yeah.
side of social media, when you're trying to leverage it to push your brand out, that you've really got to pay attention to is the analytics side, the measurement side, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I can see how many people are
Hire a
paying
geek.
attention. Hire a geek, right? There are lots of us out there who know what we're doing, but
Yes,
and
hire a
hire a
geek.
reputable geek.
But wait,
too.
but don't let the geek run the place.
No. Hire a reputable geek. Somebody who says, I know how to do Facebook is not a social media expert. Somebody who says, I tweet is not a social media expert.
No.
Look at what they've done. Look at what their awareness is when it comes to analytics and measurement and strategy and understanding how you take the information that you get from analytics and turn it into something awesome, right?
Okay, so let's say you're a hiring manager. You may be
Yes.
a hiring manager for a company like a fashion company or a big corporate entity, or you might be a hiring manager for a little startup that does fun internet stuff and kink, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So what kind of interview questions do you ask, and how do you find this gem of a person who's plugged into the network but understands plans and business issues and all those things?
They should be able to explain it to you in a way that makes sense to you.
Okay.
Right? It's all we're talking about when we're, again, talking about social networks. You're talking about the ability to build a relationship at scale and leverage that relationship. Remember back in you couldn't possibly remember back in the 70s
never.
and 80s, but
Back in the 70s,
back in the 70s and 80s, they used to call it business networking. And we'd all go out to a club together and have drinks and be boring and have Chardonnay and be like, oh, Fred, here's my card,
Right.
And you collect all these cards. You're doing that right now. You're using a tool online to do that very thing. All you're doing is going to that cocktail party, mixing with people,
Right.
talking about the things that are important to you, finding the people who get off on the things that are important to you, and building that relationship. Right?
So would you say that as long as you're connecting with people and having fun and really feeling good about what you're doing,
Yeah.
is that the litmus test? Is that the stomach test?
You know what? If you are going to have the most success in any kind of business because you have passion about it and because you have love for it.
It's a Steve Jobs kind of thing.
Dun, 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 dun. And I'm not talking about going where the puck is.
Yeah, some of them are a little bit annoying, but you know.
But-
get the
but,
idea.
I mean-
Sorry for bringing him up.
But no, Steve is a good example. He's a very successful dude. But the idea is that you want to focus your energies on things that give you great joy and things that you're good at. When you are transparent about those things that give you great joy and that you're good at, it shows, and other people are magnetized to that.
Wait, so you're saying that if you follow the things that you really love and you feel comfortable in it, and you use the tools
Yes.
to magnify yourself,
Yes.
that in the end, in a sort of a spiritual way, that that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You could like say on your deathbed, I
did it.
did it. You know?
Which is
That's
much
it.
better than saying, I bet my ROI target for August because I tweeted 400,000
Fucking
times.
God.
Right.
Let me tell you, I've been out there doing this technology thing, and I've met a lot of people, and it's scary how you got these young Turks who are like into all these analytics, and they just want to dominate the world by creating some Google engine and turning it on and drinking and fucking and just sucking the energy out of the system.
Yes. Yes.
With algorithms, whatever. I mean, what is this?
Yeah, you know what? I struggle with it, and it's something that I talk about. I have my own podcast, and I talk
Yes.
about my
Tell
friend.
us the URL and the name of your
So
podcast.
my
Megan Murray again.
Megan Murray,
Yes.
and I do my podcast with a brilliant fellow named Ewan Semple who lives in London, and it's called business-shift.com is our I believe
good
that's
one.
the thing.
Yeah.
So and what Ewan was in a very similar situation that I was, working in a very large organization, introduced social tools and begun to witness all of this great stuff that was going on. So we both talk about that, and we talk about it in relation to the world, and we talk about it in relation to whether people are using these things for good or bad, like are we the genius scientists who are sitting
Watch
in a
out for
basement
the,
building a bomb,
The
know?
double-edged sword,
Right.
the internet, a double-edged sword. I read this book called The End of Big. I loved it. Best way, summary of the book. Jefferson, the founding father of our country, was scared of two things, the two extremes, the monarchy and the mob.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, I don't know, if I had to pick one of those two, which one would you pick?
But you can't have one without the other.
Oh my fucking
You
God.
can't have one without the other. Everything is good and bad in this world.
true.
Every
Yeah.
What is it? What's the law? I'm sure you have this in your head. I know you do. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Some kind of
right? Or something
Newtonian
like that.
thing.
So there's that.
I think Newton's
Tell
law,
you.
something like
Yeah.
that.
There's that to consider in relationships. There's that to consider with online. Any movement that we make in technology to push ourselves forward, there's a potential for something disastrous and painful as part of it. That doesn't mean we run away from it. It means we understand it and learn it. And the only way to understand it and learn it is to network ourselves together and to continue the conversation.
So how do we avoid becoming the mob? Like the crazy,
Don't post the stupid shit in your fucking profile for the night saying, I agree with everybody that this is what the flag that I have to wave on Facebook, and if you don't post this again, you hate people with cancer. Stop doing that.
I hate to think a person who never has no social skills but is a maniac on Facebook is
Oh my
becoming
God.
a big nucleus in the
No.
network and turning people into these weird mutants.
So it's again,
Well,
it's
yeah.
It's a freaking
Because-
science
because
fighting
then
mutant.
you get into the whole concept of identity and who you
Oh,
are.
right.
And you have the whole thing of catfish.
And
everybody who's got a big
creating
neuron
false profiles.
Okay,
And not
new
being
rules.
themselves. I've always said that social networking would work if everybody did their job responsibly and went on and check your Facebook once a day. How
Yeah.
hard is that to do?
Yeah.
Respond to your. If everybody played that way,
But
it would all
it's-
work like clockwork. But people don't.
we can't.
No,
with
it's
humans.
That's why it's like high school.
Yeah,
It's
in a
very
way.
much like, and if you think about it, social tools are an amazing prosthetic. There are a lot of people who I've met who are huge social media geniuses who have enormous followings, big names, and you talk to these folks, and you meet them in person, and they're staring at their shoes the whole time. They're freaking terrified to talk to you.
It's true.
Because they have this beautiful prosthetic that allows them to edit their persona
And
and
come
to
out as
come
where they
off
wanna
as a
be
certain
seen.
way.
And
Are
the
they in
icon.
shoes?
And there's nothing wrong
Wait,
with
there should
that,
be a very simple
right?
rule. There should be some kind of regulation. If you need to be a big node in the internet,
Yeah.
you gotta have some real friends you meet in person. You gotta take a shower.
You gotta
You
be
gotta
social.
take a really basic
social
shower.
networking. The whole
Showers
thing
I'll
about it
agree
is
with.
social.
But there's you know what?
Follow the rules, Maria.
Well,
There are some correlations here though that I love about that story, because I think it goes when you're talking about identity and you're talking about people's need to put you into buckets, right? I think it's the same kind of story. If that's the only place that you can have a shit ton of friends and be an amazing person, as long as you're not lying to anybody or taking advantage of anybody,
Right.
then giddy up, get it done.
just make
Don't
sure the
give
picture
people
is
money
real.
on the
If you
internet.
don't shower, put a picture of Pigpen up there.
You don't want that. You don't want that packet for
Don't
$25.
Just like,
People.
don't put this freaking Julius Caesar picture up there when you're freaking, you know. It's not just online dating; it's avatar, whatever.
Yeah, I'm 5'3" and blonde in my picture.
Well, have you seen that TV show Catfish? It was based on that movie where they
No.
actually go. They bring these cases where they go, well, I've been kind of socially dating this guy on, for a few months, but there are these weird things that just don't seem right. And then they go and do the research, but then they get the person in the car with them, and they drive to their house and knock on their door and go, hello, and some schlubby, oh, don't look at me.
Well, here's what I'm worried about.
So,
I'm worried about. Wait a minute.
Okay.
You got to think about the Terminator. Some of these nerds are going to go into the Matrix, and they're going to start controlling all the banks and all the weapons, and we're going to be laughing all the way to our grave. They're going to kill all of us.
So here's the
and they're going
thing.
to take over the world.
Pay attention to anytime you hear.
But they are all kinky, so we got to use that.
They are. Believe me.
So they're
they
not
are.
all bad.
So anytime you see something that says that talks about internet privacy or control or media censorship or any of that stuff, vote on that stuff. Talk about that stuff online. SOPA, PIPA.
You mean
ACTA.
add a little regulation to the
Any of
internet?
those
drugs?
SOPA
Just a little bit of regulation?
not even a little bit of no, not even just the tip. No, no regulation.
You want no regulation on the internet.
No, not at all.
There's a big push that everybody should be
People wanna get
exactly
releases.
who they say they are, and that should be tracked, and that the whole thing that's going on with the what's the MPAA and with the Recording Institute of America and all these other groups who are trying like nuts to make sure that they maintain these old copyright stories, when we're finding that there are new models, there are different ways to approach this.
So you say get rid of all the old regulations and let the new ones evolve through a committee or through.
Well, I say we think about the old regulations and we think about where they came from and why they came from where they came from.
That means actually have an intelligent conversation in a network that is obsessed with
Your
sex.
viewers aren't really that smart.
That's the
can do
problem. The mob is obsessed with sex.
Yeah.
They're never going to have these
But
conversations.
you know what? They will. If you think about what
We
would
need
happen,
the elite back. Well, sort of.
What would happen to a podcast like this, where we could talk about fucking and we can talk about politics and
That's
we can
because
talk
we're
about
San Francisco.
Yeah, but we're San Francisco. But if they take our rights away to be able
If the
to
government
do that,
gets their fingers in what can
and they
and can't
go,
be
you know
put
what? That
on the
might be
internet.
considered obscene. I don't think we need to put that on the internet.
Exactly.
You know what?
Then it
I
comes
don't
down
think
to
that's
then it comes
appropriate.
down to what kind of machine is required through social networking to get people to watch shows like this.
That's when the underground internet comes up.
And here's the news. Very simple summary of the way it all works. Who you vote for president doesn't matter. Who you vote for in the social network matters 1,000 times
Where
more.
you spend your money.
Where you spend your money
That's
and your
I mean,
thing.
that's called your vote.
So if you want to vote,
days.
Vote with your feet. Vote with your voice. Make
Yep.
sure that you're talking
Yeah.
on a regular basis.
great. And on that note, we could probably do a lot more talking with you. Must have you
We
back on the
could,
show.
but it's time for our next guest
Of course,
and a song.
Again, Dan
Now,
is
how
going to play
can
a
we reach
song.
you? If
Yeah.
people want to learn more, how can they reach you?
So you can find me on Twitter at Megan Murray. It's MEGANMURRAY1 thing, or I'm on meganmurray.net is my blog, and business-shift.com is the business blog.
Good fun stuff.
Yay!
You know?
And are you on Facebook?
You know I'm on Facebook. You know I am. Except it's Megan Murray, so you'll never find me. I'm mixed in with a boatload of field hockey players and Labrador Retrievers.
Oh wow.
Sorry.
We'll get into that next time.
Maybe
Oh, yeah.
maybe put Junior on your name or something. Maybe I can find you or something.
We'll get into the who the fuck are you and where are you on the gender spectrum and what are you into and all
We'll
this
get
other
it.
crazy
We'll get
stuff.
it out.
But we'll do that another time.
We'll hear about that later tonight. So
You know,
okay.
Yeah.
We ready for
Because
this?
in this city, it doesn't matter to us.
Okay, I'm going to play a song by Castles in Spain. We'll be planning to do a show with them probably in July, and this is their song called Breathe.